To become a pediatric dentist, you have to apply and get accepted into a PEDO residency. Stay tuned as we talk to a D4 student that is about to realize her dream in becoming a pediatric dentist. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, a new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin. On the New Dentist podcast show, we talk about getting into dental school, surviving dental school, getting into residency, surviving residency, and life as a new dentist. Be sure that you guys are subscribing and hitting the notifications down below, ping, 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 so that you guys are notified every time new videos are being released. All right. Also, this episode of Ask Dr. Darwin is being brought to you by Dr. Darwin On Demand, the ultimate and exclusive community for new dentists. New dentists meaning pre-dental students, current students, residents, and international dentists looking to get a license here in the U.S. In this community, you'll be surrounded with like-minded individuals who are sharing tips, strategies. We have weekly Q&As and also monthly mastermind as well. For more information, go to thenewdentistcoach.com/on-demand, thenewdentistcoach.com/on-demand, and we'll see you in the community very soon. So today we're going to be continuing talking about one of the most popular and most competitive residency programs and also specialty programs, and that's pediatric dentistry. Today we're joined with the D4 student, Dr. Paris, and she's going to share with us how she did it, because it's not easy. It's not easy. How you doing, Doc?
I'm great. How are you?
Not as good as you. Not as good as you. So please introduce yourself for those that are meeting you for the first time.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name is Paris Webb. I am from Midland, Texas, and I am a new pediatric resident. I currently attend dental school at Texas A&M College of Dentistry in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas. You guys are getting some crazy weather right about now, huh?
Yeah, we just survived a wild snowstorm that we were largely not prepared for, but we made it through. So super glad for that.
Good. Well, let's brush it up. Let's get into it, because, I've been doing a lot of these, and PEDO is still not only very popular, but it's still good to know how people did it and how you did it as well. So, but first, let's talk about dentistry. Why dentistry for you? How did you come to the profession?
So dentistry was one of those things where it was the only thing I ever said I wanted to be. And that started about like 7th grade when I was going to the dentist, and I just built that relationship with my dentist. And the moment my parents found out I needed braces, that relationship, built with my orthodontist. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna be a dentist. And I think at the time I never really understood even what that meant. But because I said it, I just went after it and, kind of developed those relationships. And then I started to realize that I love the hands-on interaction and the interaction and the relationship you can build with your dentist. And so I was like, I want to be that for someone. So yeah, I just kind of branched out and started looking for resources, and dentistry kind of just, we fell in love with each other for sure.
There you go. So that's a very common pathway, or at least common exposure, right? For people to kind of go to their dentist, or in your case, like going to the orthodontist, and it's like, oh, that's nice. That's cool. So that goes to tell you that the exposure starts early,
Absolutely.
Right? It starts early. You have to make sure that you get that exposure early. So now, why PEDO? Because now you're about to get your graduate, and now you have found one of the most exciting and most popular specialties right now, PEDO. Mm-hmm. So why PEDO for you?
Yeah, I chose pediatric dentistry. I love kids. I feel like you can't really go into the profession and not love kids, because that is, essentially our job is to treat them. And really what got me into it is my mother worked with special needs children. And I feel like she worked with them for 20 years. So they raised me pretty much, and I saw them grow older. And I always wondered, when I would see them at my basketball games, maybe like every year there was a new tooth missing from a patient or a client. And so I was wondering, like, who's taking care of these people and who's, tending to them. So that kind of got me started on my journey to figure out. And I had a mentor at our school actually, who is, I'm a general dentist, but treated a lot of special needs patients. And so I shadowed him and got to go to the OR with him. And I realized like, this is my passion. And having that love for special needs patients as well as loving children, pediatric dentistry kind of ties the two in because, at a hospital program, you get to go to the OR and treat, patients with Collins or Down syndrome. And so for me, it just blended the two. So it was kind of a no-brainer, but I think I didn't step into that realization until maybe second year of dental school. So I didn't come in knowing I wanted to do peds. But I knew like I just wanted to maybe cater my practice, in that direction. And peds just kind of, again, it happened. I feel like it was like divine intervention. I was like, this is for you, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. And I will tell you, what you already know, and the subspecialty within peds is that special needs population. And I will tell you, in most states, there's a dire need for your subspecialty or for your skill set, because not all general dentists and not even all pediatric dentists are seeing enough of that population, and for many of them, they don't have anywhere to go. Right.
Right. Yeah. The resources are very slim. So I want to be like a pillar in my community, and I want, my people to know like, hey, I will take care of your children. I will treat them to the best of my ability. And that's what residency is for. I'm excited to learn and get experience with that population so that I can offer that service to that marginalized, community.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That really will help increase access to care to that vulnerable population for sure. For sure.
Yes,
So you mentioned going to the OR. You mentioned having a mentor, a GP at school who was treating that population. How did that help you prepare for your application? Because it's a process to prepare for your pedo application. And it sounds like you had some real good foundational things that you were doing pretty early on. So tell us a little bit more about how you prepared for your application.
I think the biggest thing was like mentorship. That was one of the biggest things that I needed, that I didn't know I needed. I knew I had, colleagues that were older in the field, but someone who would actually like grab you and show you the reins and kind of guide you. And if they didn't know, they would point you in the right direction. And so I had, a doctor at my school, and another, actually my basketball coach's husband is a pediatric dentist. And so that relationship in college followed me into, my professional career. And so I went to Abilene and shadowed him in his office. So that was getting me my mentorship, as well as letters of recommendation, because those two same doctors wrote letters for me. And I think that was something I encourage everyone applying to residency, like find your letter writers early. And it was about this time last year that I mentioned to them, like, hey, I'm going for this specialty. I would like for you to write a letter. And I approached them with a letter in a professional manner. But that also gave them time to like evaluate me, get to know me more, with that mind, with that idea in mind, like, okay, she's going for peds. Maybe I should evaluate if she's friendly, if she's, has good education skills. And I feel like also like my colleagues in dental school helped me a lot to know like, hey, when should I start applying? What should I be looking for? How do I organize my CV? And so just people who were currently in residency that graduated from my school, and also my colleagues that were applying the same year as me, we just we formed like a group chat and we worked together to try to, get through it together. Just during a pandemic, it's even harder because externships were virtual. But I did reach out to externships about this time last year as well. So just kind of getting jump started early and really pulling in the resources that you already have, but, knowing that people are available to you. You just have to ask and build your own, network.
Yeah, that's key. That's key. Your net worth depends on your network. So your worth of getting into a program and going through that process was all, made possible by your network.
Absolutely. Who does matter. People are like, oh, what yeah, that is like getting into peds. I feel like grades matter a lot. But if pediatric dentists, and if they can vouch for you, and if people in residency that can vouch for you, that it carries it really, really helps for sure.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you definitely had some very specific things that you were doing prior to your D4 year, or even prior to your your transition from D3 to D4, and I think that's important for people to hear. Why having that type, finding those types of mentors and having people who can evaluate you specifically and evaluate you about your character and who you are via you working with them one-on-one is so key, so key. So let's talk a little bit about the schools, the number of schools that you applied to, and why you had certain schools on your list.
Absolutely. So I originally was going to only apply to 7 schools, and I had chose those 7 schools based off the history of the program. I researched the programs on the AAPD website, as well as, like my mentors went to some of those programs. And so just kind of getting to know those schools. But with COVID being an issue and realizing that now people can apply wherever because there's no element of travel. So was less expensive this year than ever before.
Right.
And so it's already competitive, but now it's even more competitive because people from New York are applying in California because it's, they don't have to pay to fly and get a hotel for 2 days. So I bumped that number up to 13 schools. And I chose programs based on, geographic region, as well as the type of program. I knew I wanted either a dual school and hospital-based program or a solely hospital-based program. I wanted the hospital experience because I knew I wanted to do special needs dentistry. So I wanted to get exposed to that early on. And I just wanted to do a lot of sedation cases. I like a fast-paced residency. I didn't want to see maybe a patient in the morning and one in the afternoon. I wanted to get my speed up so that when I got in the real world, I was, at least ahead of the curve. And of those 13 schools, I got 9 interviews, which was God's grace. I was super excited. I remember being nervous and checking SDN constantly, like, okay, they're getting interviews, I'm not getting interviews. And I feel like I was so doubtful, but it worked. And then I only accepted 8 of those 9.
Okay.
One of the 9th ones I got pretty late on, and all of the top programs that I wanted, I had already received. And so it's kind of a leap of faith, like, I don't know, I think I'm going to hold off on this one. And I think it would have been a disservice to others to take that spot knowing I wouldn't go to that school.
Right.
And so
right.
I don't want to, be greedy. And I knew I wouldn't go there either way. So
yeah. Plus you were blessed with 8. I mean, a total of 9. I mean, I can't do my math right now, but it's probably 75% of 13,
crazy.
9 out of 13.
Yes, sir.
Probably a little bit more better than that. It's probably about 70-some%. So that's amazing. Interview days. Now, we talked about things being virtual. Any particular questions you remember hearing over and over and over again on your interviews? And what were some of the questions that were like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that one?
I think the repetitive questions were tell me about yourself. And that's like a vital question. Because people want to know you, but it's like, can you be thorough and concise and give them a full picture? Because maybe, someone in the interview committee didn't read your entire packet, but you can give them everything in that snippet of 30 seconds. And so that, I feel like that's capitalize on that question if you can. I got that question everywhere. Another question that I got from one of the programs, which was kind of like, it didn't stump me, but it's, in PEDS, you're so here because you're like, okay, I'm in an interview. And it was like, if you come here, what would be our Halloween theme next year? And I was like, I thought about everything that can be educational, academic. Fun was nowhere in there. So and I was like, okay, where's my inner kid? Where's my inner child? And I think I said Minions. Because I was like, I'm sure I can make the cute little voice, but that was all at the time. I was like, this was not on the sheet. This is not
right.
So I think the questions where they just want to get to know you were the ones that were like, oh, you don't care what my GPA is, or you don't want to know how, this experience in this hospital translates into how I would act in residency, which is a very common question. And so I think the ones where they were just trying to get to know you on a personal level and as a human being, not as a practitioner or a clinician.
Right.
Those are the ones where, because we don't rehearse those, we rehearse the questions that are going to like stump you.
Yeah.
So those took me back for sure.
Yeah, and I've heard the same thing, right? I mean, there are some questions people get. They ask like stuff like, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Yes.
And you're like,
right.
But you're right. It's really when you get to that interview stage, it's really about really amplifying who you are as an individual, not only as a candidate, but as an individual, because you and them, they are going to be with you guys are going to be with each other for 330, I'm sorry, 730 some days
Yes.
together, right? So you have to make sure that you have a person that you like and they like you, and etc. So very, very very, very good to hear that you knock those questions out the park, I'm sure. So so after you have those questions, you go back
Mhm.
home, you look at your notes.
Yeah.
It's January. You got to come together and put your rank list, your order together.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how you went through that process, because that can
Right.
be very stressful. Like, oh my God, how all these programs, all
Yeah.
8 of these are not, are top. I got my top 4 in here that are in the 8. Oh, how am I going to put this together? Tell us a little bit about how you did that.
Honestly, how you described all that is exactly what I felt. It was just a lot of emotions, a lot
Yeah.
of like a whirlwind of things. And I feel like if I didn't take notes like immediately after the interview, then I would have forgotten like what did I like about this interview in particular. So that was something that my friends were like, my colleagues were like, hey, after interviews, just jot down a few things about why you like the school and comment on like the personal stuff, like interpersonal relationships. Did you feel like you connected with the faculty? Granted, it's virtual, but you can still get some type of feel. And so after going through all of those, I kind of had like about a top 3 programs out of those 8. And it was mostly off of the residents. Like, what did they say about their experiences? Because of course you have code requirements. So every school is going to have the minimum of sedations, the minimum of experience, because you have to, right, to be accredited. But what else stood out? And so I really liked if a resident spoke about their faculty without me asking. That let me know that like they have a real bond with their faculty members and there's a trust relationship established. And that is a healthy learning environment, which I really desperately need. Was like, I want to be able to have independence. Like if I have to work through a problem, like allow me to do so, but also you're there available to help me. And so I really liked when they talked about that. And so that kind of helped me order my list, as well as the programs where I just knew like they historically have been good programs. Okay. And so I had my top 3 and I was blessed to get one of my top 3 and I was super excited. And yeah, I feel like that alone really like kind of gave me a little bit of inspiration, because I was like, I know where I want to go and I prayed about it and I know it's going to happen. So it definitely worked out in my favor.
Cool. Now, I just want to go back real quick. Okay. Of those 8 programs that you had interviews with, would you mind sharing the names of those programs so people can kind of hear?
Yeah, absolutely. So you want me to tell all 8 or the ones that had ranked higher?
Either. I just want people to know where programs are.
Absolutely. So I applied, or I got interviews at Tennessee, the program in Tennessee. What else did I get? Cincinnati, Ohio State, Chicago, Temple, St. Christopher's Hospital.
In DC?
In Philadelphia, actually.
Philadelphia. Okay. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yep. Minnesota and San Antonio. Those are the ones I can remember at the top of my head.
Good. Yeah, UT San Antonio. Cool.
Yes, sir. And so they were all really good programs. I mean, they were all great programs. So it was really tough to, at that point, it was based off of like, do I want to live there? Could I see myself, growing there? And is it the type of specialty or type of residency that I know would cater? Because they're all good. So it's like, you have to find where you would fit in best.
Right.
So it was tough.
That's good. So rank list, you came down to 3 programs, and now it's time for the drum roll. Because everybody doesn't know yet. Let's go. Let's see if anybody can guess. Let's see. So where did you match?
I matched at Cincinnati Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I couldn't be more happier. I am super excited. I'm actually going there in March to go ahead and start apartment searching and everything. I'm excited to get out of Texas and just explore. So I consider myself extremely blessed. And actually one of my, another friend of mine who is a mentor in this process is a current resident there. So we went to college together. I followed him to dental school, and obviously I'm following him through his residency. So it's been a great journey for
Ohio. Okay, congratulations.
Yes,
that's cool.
Thank you.
That's cool. So So now here comes the part that people really want to know as far as tips and advice for current applicants
Yeah.
or those thinking about applying to PEDO. Give us 3 or 4
Yeah.
tips.
I think the first thing is to gather all your documents, get your CV in order, get your personal statement in order, because your packet information is all that they're going to see before they even decide to invite you to an interview. So make sure you've got your letters of recommendation, and choose people that know you very well in different capacities. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is have a mock interview, because you can prepare all you want on your own, but unless you're
prepare. Piss
Yes,
poor preparation promotes piss poor performance. You got to prepare.
And you think you're prepared because you're like, okay, I can talk, or I have communication skills, but it's totally different when you're under the flames. And actually, I have a really good friend of mine who's also a pediatric resident, or going in pediatric residency. Dear Dental School is her name on Instagram. She does mock interviews. She does personal statement editing, and she actually is who edited my personal statement. And to the point where in my interviews, they were asking me, like, how did you word this? Or like, I like the way you put this. And so, especially if they're very academically sound, they're going to be evaluating your personal statement heavily. So that was another resource that I used. And she critiqued me in our interviews, and we're friends. And so I kind of thought it would be like a lackadaisical conversation, but she like turned it on and was like, you need to talk about this. You didn't make eye contact. You stuttered on here. So it was like very good communication feedback. The third thing is I would say is, make that community around yourself. Get to know other residents at the programs, even if you follow them on Instagram. You can follow myself on Instagram, because they're going to give you the real about the program that they're currently experiencing. And the more you know about each program, the better you can feel about going into the interview, or even about applying to that school. Because I feel like AAPD kind of gives like a surface level amount of information. So you want to make sure you expose yourself to everything that's out there.
Good tips, good advice. You guys listening, if you didn't hear it, you need to go back, hit rewind, write these things down. Gather your documents first, choose the right writers for your letters of recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Practice with your mock interviews and your personal statement. Make sure you have everything contained there, and then also get to know the residents and start to connect with people. What's nice about the cycles now, in the last 10 years, is that you've got another way of connecting with people via Instagram, Facebook, and a lot of the schools and a lot of the chapters, student chapters have social media outlets, so that you can connect to and find out what residents and the programs are doing. Tap into those. Got to do that. Got to tap into those. Any current projects you're working on, future plans outside of graduating in 3 months?
Yeah, I was like, graduate. At the moment, I'm not actively working on anything. I have a few things under my belt that I would like to get into. I really would like to, transition all of my social media platforms to be more educating to just parents in general about, how to get ahead of the curve as it relates to their child's oral health. And so that's kind of something, that's my passion in general, is to educate, especially minorities. I feel like there's some resources that need to be made available. And I think you can't really prevent something if you're not educated on it. Right. And so I want to get that out there, and again, make myself available to patients of special needs, So that's kind of something that is on my heart, and something that I want to pursue eventually. But at the moment, it's just, getting to school. I'm excited to get there and learn, and just be a sponge and absorb everything that I can learn, and start making my impact.
Sounds good. What's the best way for people to contact you if they have any further questions?
I mostly check my Instagram for everything. It's _Paris.web. Again, _Paris.web. And I'm on there.
1 R or 2?
1 R and 2 B's. 1 R like the city, and then web with 2 B's. Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
But I'm on there pretty regularly, and like I said, I just enjoy educating people. And the more I learn, the more people I want to share the information. So fun 2 years coming.
Yeah. Well, we were glad that you came onto the show today, dropped some knowledge, shared your experience and your success. just very thankful for you carving out the time to do that. You guys check out these next set of videos right here. Hopefully these will help you as well. And student Dr. Paris Webb, soon to be Dr. Webb, soon to be Pedo Dr. Webb. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for your time. And that's our time for today. Love, peace, and smiles. We'll see you on the next video.